Good morning, everybody. This is Devin from Homeschool House Calls, and we are airing into How Do I Homeschool, which is our new name for our professional home educator, and Homeschooling Supermoms. And Susan is out of town this week, so you got me. And we're with Angel today. We started talking at a Zoom meeting I guess about 2 months ago. I don't even
Yeah.
remember what the subject of the Zoom meeting was, but we had so much fun talking. And I asked her to come on today, and we're going to talk about fine motor skills because that's what the rabbit hole we went down. And I hear so many comments about helping our kids with handwriting, but there's some stuff you need to do beforehand. And we just went down a rabbit hole one day, and we had so much fun. I said, "You've got to come on and talk with me about fine motor skills because I think it's really important."
Yes.
And I see a lot of stuff for maybe preschoolers, but you don't always realize that you can carry it on to older kids too. So that's what we're going to talk about, just fine motor skills for better handwriting and before you have handwriting and all those kind of things. So thank you for coming to talk with me, Angel.
Thank you for inviting me.
So we'll
I'll
have
give
great
you.
time.
Yeah, I have. There's a lot of things. I did a lot of research. Uh, I have been doing. I don't know. I started. So let me tell you. My name is Angel. I'm a mother of two. My son's 26. My daughter is going to be 30 this year. And I homeschooled both of them. And I have my granddaughter that I'm homeschooling, and she is 8 right now.
Hmm.
Um, so around when she was younger, I noticed that she had some autistic traits. So this is what led me down to the fine motor skills. So she is like Asperger's, which is a higher autism, but she has problems with writing, and she's had it for since she was about 5, maybe. Or maybe 4 is when I started noticing it. So we've been really working on the fine motor skills um, aspect of hers because for autistic kids and any kids that have dyslexia or dysgraphia, um, it takes them a lot longer. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort in their, for them to be able to get to the point where, they should be, I guess.
Yeah.
But everybody is different. So, like for her, for fine motor skills for like little ones, you should start off with I'm a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I've been a nurse for 22 years, but I am a grandma that has been going down the rabbit hole of autism because I didn't take care of pediatric kids. I took care of the older population.
Hmm.
So this is fairly new to me, but I know a lot of the grip for kids. They need to start off when they're young. So when they're playing and they're coloring, when even when they're coloring, we used to like throw away the broken crayons. Where's my glow thing? Like this. So we have the little broken crayons. This keep the broken crayons because it is easier for them to grip it like like the proper way when they're coloring.
Hmm.
So that's what the therapist had her. He suggested like if you have broken crayons, use those because that's like the best thing. Even when they're 1 or 2, let them use the broken crayons or break them in half. Then you have two. Then you have two crayons to color with because it helps them get that grip like this instead of them trying to hold a pen, like this. Because that's
Hmm.
when they hold a pen a different way when they get older.
While you're
They're
talking, I'm gonna grab something real quick.
okay. When
Keep
they're
talking.
holding the pen when they're older, they're pushing down hard, so they'll start complaining about their hands hurting, and they won't want to write. That's how I found out she wasn't finishing her schoolwork, because of her writing, because she was hurting her hands. So some other things that you can work on, besides the broken pencils and coloring is, I do not have one, but they have for pencils the grips. I'm sure everybody has seen them. You put the little pencils and it helps them hold the grip. Um, but before they get the
Here's
grips,
what I
they
use
need
with Lucy. I
the
don't know if
big
y'all can
fat
see
pen
this.
pencil.
It's like
Is there?
it's a single. Let's see.
Yeah. Is there a grip on there? Or is that the
There's no
big
grip,
pencil?
but when you hold it, you tend to hold it like that
Oh, the
because
triangle pencil.
it's a triangle. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, those are good. Yeah, those are good too. And I was just talking about the grips. They have those grips that
Yeah.
you can hold. Yep. Triangle pencils. Yep. Or crayons. Those are the good things. Um, but when they're little, you can like do things with them like the Play-Doh. You can
Hmm.
have them like roll the Play-Doh up because that strengthens their hands. They can even do all this like before they even. I have her do a couple of exercises, to get her hands warmed up. Like if we were to stretch before we do exercise. So we play with the Play-Doh. You can also take the Play-Doh and have them rolling up in a
This
ball.
isn't something for little. Play-Doh's not just for little kids. I mean, you can go all the way up. Even my teens will pick it up and play with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And if you have like the clay, they have the clay, when it's you can still you mold it and everything else. The clay is a lot better if you put it in a ball, make them roll it up in a ball, and then you squish it and try to make it as flat as you can and have
Uh,
them do that with each finger, and it helps them, build that muscles in those fingers in the hands. So you roll it up and then just have them squish it as flat as they can and do it again for each one. And I think the clay, this is just the Play-Doh. I didn't bring the clay, but the clay is harder, so it's you gotta
mhm.
squish it. So it just gives you that extra, and it's like, oh, how flat can you get that thing? It's you make it a game and they love it. Anything you make a game,
And
they
you could
love.
start with Play-Doh and move to the clay when their muscles start building. You could move to the
Yeah,
clay later. If you see
yes,
that your child can't do the clay, I mean that's a
yeah, exactly. And there's also you can do stickers. Like you would not think, go to the dollar store, you get you get just them peeling the stickers off is so hard, for them, but it helps build their little muscles.
mhm.
So, and all kids from 1 to now, me, love stickers, you know. So
Yeah.
just pulling off the stickers and, having them, I don't know how many stickers I have. I have a whole bucket full of stickers. And it's like, this sticker day, do sticker craft, Um, Another thing is anything that has tweezers. Uh, I got these at the Dollar Tree. So these are like big tweezers and they're kind of stiff, but when you hold them, it helps, it helps build their muscles. So they can just, pick up the little balls or whatever and put them. You get those little cupcake, the cupcake liners,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
put all your white ones in this one, or make a game out of it. You can even time them and see how much. That's how she got into it. Is we time it now is to see how many she can get into each one and see if
With
she
the
can get
race.
them all done. See, it's all about making a game out of it. Um, Another thing is with the Play-Doh, depending on how young they are, you can put the beads in the Play-Doh and then squish it all up, and then they'll have to like hunt the beads and pull them all out. That's another thing. Just helps practice their fine motor skills and build up
Because
their
a lot
strength.
of parents, when they'll say, "Oh, my child's handwriting is atrocious," we'll use that big word, and you don't always realize that it may be the muscles. It's
That's
not like
correct.
it's usually not that they're being lazy. It's just you've got to build those muscles. That's usually what I'll tell. I'll say, go find activities. Look on Pinterest.
Yep.
Find activities for fine motor, because it
Yep.
may not be that they're being lazy or they're. It just may be they need their muscles better.
Right. Their hands hurt. My granddaughter would tell me, my hands hurt. I can't write no more. She can write like maybe 2 or 3 words,
Hmm.
and I was like, that's, okay, we got to work on that. So we've been working on it. She's up to like 2 sentences now. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Origami. Origami is really good um, for them because they have to do those little folds, and it's kind of like, they're just moving their hands around when they're doing that origami, and they're making their, rabbit or whale, whatever they're making, or even a fan, how you folded up those old time fans we used to make, still
Yeah.
do those. Make a couple of those, have them make a couple of those. Helps build the muscles. It's all about building their muscles when they're younger, so that when they get, up to the age where they should be writing their ABCs, at what, 5, 6, depending on,
Hmm.
their age, um, building those muscles up, it helps them to achieve what they need to be doing, at that, around that age. Um, Also, like, there's other things that you can do to help build is this is more of a gross motor skill, but you have those window markers. I didn't grab them.
Hmm.
I was too much in a hurry. But let them, draw on the window because it wipes right off. You just
Yeah.
take a wash rag and wipe it right off, or a dry erase marker. If they're standing or if they're kneeling at the chalkboard or easel, then they have to use those muscles that you're going to use to hold your arm up to write, and while you're uh, trying to concentrate, so it's helping them remember muscle memory. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Muscle memory. So
Good.
yeah, that just there's not just exercise. I mean, because kids don't want to just do exercise; they want to do kind of fun stuff. So building those, throwing a tennis ball, that helps, with their gross motor skills, and taking that tennis ball and squeezing it helps the fine motor skills. So even if you're just squeezing it, or a stress ball,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
um, making jewelry, with the jewelry, um, like the little beads and necklaces, anything that they have to hold, making those jewelry, or those little cross stitch things. Like I got my brain here, but when they have to, I made one before I found, all this other stuff. And, sometimes you don't have money to buy this kind of stuff. It's a shoestring or like a little string.
Yeah.
And you just, you go in and out, and it's just, it helps them.
Hmm.
When she was little, probably around 2, 3, maybe, I made her a gigantic butterfly, took a hole puncher, punched the holes around the butterfly, gave her a string, and let her, play with the string to go around it. So there's, yeah, Devin said, there's tons of things on Pinterest that you can find to do. Lots of arts and crafts, cutting. Um, Cutting helps with their fine motor skills, building those muscles up in their hands. So they should do lots of arts and crafts when they're little. It's pretty basically what it all looks like. If you look at my table, it looked like I'm doing a big craft art project here.
One of the things that we do, that I do with Lacey right now, I started doing, is letting, like last night, she cut the top to the broccoli off the big stem. We were making supper. So she took she was taking the scissors and cutting, yeah, there's my scissors, cutting the broccoli smaller so that we could cook it. And so that, I mean, there's lots of things you can do and think outside the box. And they don't realize that you're trying to build their muscles. They're just having
Yep.
fun.
Exactly, yes, because that's a different texture, a different, it's not as, it's thicker than paper. So anything that you're gonna, leather, broccoli, whatever you're thinking of that you need to cut with the scissors, I would say, hey, can you cut this for me? Hopefully, if don't make a good project where you need to get it cut precisely, because there's going to be some mess ups. But
Yeah, you didn't need
anything that
broccoli cut
extra,
a certain way.
yeah. So
And hole punching, you could do, say, hey, I need you to make me some confetti. You could give them some construction paper and a hole puncher.
oh yeah,
And
yep,
and yes, it makes mess. And yes, I have been the mom that did not want the mess, but sometimes you have to think past the mess to what good you got coming from it.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
You're only young once. I used to get upset when my kids would color on the wall. Now I'm okay because you know what? You can buy paint. You only live once. They're only kids once, and you know what it's doing? It's helping that gross motor skill, and it's helping the fine motor skill also. So, I'm okay with that. I didn't know it back then, but I know it now.
I think when we get older, we kind of get more chill.
Yeah,
I
on
was not
something.
chill when we were little.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Kind of go with the flow kind of thing. Try to at least.
So when you said something when you were talking about when you first started noticing with your granddaughter that she had some writing issues. What
Yeah.
kind of things did you notice?
When she was in when she was in first grade, we lived up in North Carolina, and I was working as a nurse, so it's a lot of hours. So she was schooled for her first grade. Um, but she was in the only reason I let her go was because she was at a bilingual one, and they were teaching her Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I noticed that all the other kids had their work up,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of them didn't. So I asked where her work was, and I looked, and I said, she's not writing, she's not completing her work like everybody else. Um, and even at home, when she gave me such a hard time with writing, but she didn't tell me at that time that it hurt. She's just at that time it's like
Just
a
avoiding.
meltdown mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, do anything that I can do not to have to do it. So by that time, we moved down to Florida, and and then the pandemic hit. So, when the pandemic hit, all else came back, and that's when I found out that her writing, she told me then that it hurts. So she was,
Mm-hmm.
what, 6 years old when she told me that it hurts to write.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen. Uh, I didn't listen. I'm like, it's just writing. You just gotta write your ABCs. You know, it's like, she knows how to write them. It's just her to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, so when we took her to therapy, then this is like a year ago now. We started with therapy. Um, the therapist was like, it really does hurt her to write, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt so bad, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't now. It's like, you can write your name. That's good enough. We're gonna type. We can type everything, but we're still going to work on, um, work on our fine motor skills to build that up. So that way, you know, to build up. So now she's writing like I said, she's writing 2 sentences now in therapy. Um, and I'll have her type. Her schoolwork is usually pretty either much verbal or we're typing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's a good typer. She types real fast. So,
I love how you
but
give her
I won't.
ways to have success.
Yes,
You
yeah,
know,
because
you're
I'm not gonna.
building the fine motor skills.
Yeah, because um, if I push her to write her answers, then it doesn't end well, and I'm not gonna have, you know, um, an argument or meltdown or
Yeah.
anything like that. So, it's better just to. I know it hurts, so let's just practice. Hey, we're gonna do this. Or now, since she's older, these mazes, these
Uh-huh.
are like the best thing to do. And it's like, okay,
Nice.
I want you to try to do the maze without touching any of the lines. So that's really hard. And it
Mm-hmm.
takes quite a while to do it, Or when they're in the kindergarten or whenever they start tracing, I got this from The Good and the Beautiful, not a sponsor, but just the tracing. You can laminate them and use a dry erase marker. That's what I did.
That's a nice idea.
Um, these are just the extras and stuff I gave them to my niece and nephew to let
What,
them do.
what level is that? Is that the handwriting? Which
Yeah,
level?
this one I think, yeah, is a level one. Um, just one out of their books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the best thing. And when she was about 4 years old, I guess, or whenever 3, I was doing these already.
Yeah.
But she needs the extra practice. So doing the lines like this, and trying to recreate it, what it looks like, is really hard for her. But tracing is, tracing is easy now for her, but before it wasn't. And no, nobody really realizes that until it gets kind of too late. And you don't want it to get too late, because then you have issues
Yeah.
and problems. Not that you really have to, because the day of age of technology, it's
And that's one thing I think I've found. Even my teenagers will say that it's hard to write. Because we grew up, we wrote everything. We didn't have the electronics. So I think with my teenagers, it's just a matter that they've been on computers so long, they haven't wrote. So they'll say, this makes me tired. I'm like,
yep,
they're like, and then they'll say things like, how do you write that whole page out? And I'm like, well, I have years of writing and no technology. And I said, that's the difference. It's not that they can't do it. It's just we had a different growing up time.
that's right, that's right. I just had that conversation with her the other day. I'm like, we didn't have cell phones. I said, I had a phone that was on the wall, and it had a cord, and I had to pick it up and stand there and talk. She's like,
Stand there. You couldn't
what?
get in your room and hide.
Exactly. So she was just like, I can't believe it. So, and I didn't have computer either. I said computers were all totally new. I said that I think my dad had like the first whatever Apple or something long, long time ago, and
Those things. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to use it back then, because that was his like pride and joy. But I said, so I didn't have computers like you do. But it, this day and age, technology is getting
It's so
more and
easy.
more advanced, so they're going to even they have that I think it's called the Dragon or something. They can actually type, or not type, they
Mhm.
talk and it types the
Multi
sentence for them
type.
when they're doing,
Yeah.
yeah, when they're doing like big projects. Because even now there's older people or children, teenagers who can't write that long, so they can't write papers like that. So they'll just type or use the Dragon to help them uh, speak to
It's
text, I
amazing
guess.
what we have. Yeah, it's amazing what we have.
Yeah, but it's very important to start when they're young, when, starting at 1 and 2. Break those crayons, get the triangle
Mhm.
ones or whatever. Let them use the muscles and throwing balls and the squeezing the balls. And that's what she loves, slime and anything that is slime related. And even the harder slimes, getting to like clay kind of. She has a big bucket of it, because she's always squishing it, or she's pulling it apart or whatever, and those are
Yeah,
fine motor skills. So I
yeah.
didn't I didn't mind it. Now you might get slime. You gotta watch them, because I've got slime on pillows and
Yes,
carpets
you have to
and
have maybe ground rules.
yeah, yeah,
Don't take it
exactly.
to the carpet. It stays on the table. But I mean, we don't usually think about okay. Like in a couple of weeks, we'll have a workshop called Invitation to Play. Well, we can set things up like this up on the table. So, like at breakfast, there's things to play with and fidget with,
Mhm.
and they can, and it builds their fine motor skills because a lot of times I find myself, it's like I'll look at my kids and think, well, you should know how to do that. And then I have the conversation about how they're not writing all day long like I did. Well, how can they do something if they don't? We assume they know how to do something that we know how to do when we don't realize that we're not in the same society. They're not growing it up in the same time frame that we were. So they might not be able to do it. And that's one thing that I took away from when we talked the other day, that you didn't realize it hurt. You
Mhm.
know, she was writing and but see, we have a different, it's a different time. So
Yep.
let's give
Yep.
our kids a break and realize that we've got to build their fine motor skills long before we can expect their handwriting to be beautiful.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, when you get to the older kids, and then they're, let them help with the screwdrivers, with the hammering, with the
Mhm.
whatever, so that's them gripping, and like I said, that's throwing the balls and the screwdriver. That definitely helps. And even with the little kids, they have those little toys that they play pretend with the
Yeah,
hammer and the screwdriver and stuff. Those are all helps with the wrist, and it helps with the the grip and stuff. So it really starts when, whenever they're able to grip and hold stuff, when they start coloring stuff, that's when it starts, and it should keep building it until, until once they get 6 or 8 years old, then they'll be able to withstand the writing that they have to do, and with whether they're
Mm-hmm.
homeschooled or public schooled, because there's a lot of writing in public school
Yeah.
that I didn't realize until, I noticed that she wasn't doing it all. Um, but now I know why. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. And so is mom, because, mom was homeschooled, so she's okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And plus her diagnosis, it could be another year or whatever before she's able to write a whole paragraph, which we're fine with, because it's all about that muscle memory, whether it's in your hand, your arm, or your brain. It's you getting that muscle memory in your brain with your grips in your hands and your writing. So
And the thing is, it's all about the progression. As long as you're making progress, I'm like, just
yep,
think, she's up to 2 sentences, and in a month she might be up to three, and
hmm
that is really progression. It's about having progress and moving forward. It's not about being on the grade level.
yep,
It's like moving, and that's what I tell mamas all the time, that you've got to move forward. As long as you're moving forward, don't judge it by all the other people. Just as
that's
long
right.
as you're moving forward, we're doing good.
That is correct. Yep, because she's excelled in math and science and everything else. It's just the handwriting is pretty much at kindergarten, first grade level right now. So, but and she's in third grade. So,
That's
well,
fabulous, though.
third grade public school, but she's way above that in her math. So, and it's all let her do it, whatever's comfortable for her to be able to finish the assignment. Like I said, I'll let her do it verbally, as long as we're, still playing or crafting or whatever, working on our fine motor skills. And then we do, well, she does it in therapy, but on the day she doesn't do therapy, we do practice a little bit of the writing, so that way it stays, because you have to constantly keep, every day you should be doing something with the hands to work on, to build up
So
those muscles.
when you're working on, like, if she's doing some classwork verbally, do you have stuff laid out for her to do with her hands while she's doing things? Like, is
Yeah,
she, like,
she
like
needs
maybe
it.
playing with Play-Doh while she's answering science questions?
Yep. Yep. Yes, she
That's all.
has Play-Doh. She has her slime. She has her squishies. Um, she has all those things that she will play with. Little fidgets while she's playing with those. I think it's more of a, I guess, ADHD, maybe her ADHD along with her autism.
It probably helps.
Um, yeah, but she needs that extra stemming to be able to concentrate to do her lessons. But yeah, she just excels when it's verbal or she's typing. It's great. Now she can't type as fast as I do, because way back when they used to, like, okay, you gotta take a typing class, but
Yeah.
she's gonna start that. She loves it. She can't. She's so excited to start a typing course
That's
now. So I said,
good.
yeah, let's go for it. See if you can beat my words per minute, and at the end of the session we'll have a race and see who can do the most words. So it's all about
Okay.
competition when they're younger, I guess.
Yeah,
Everything
I have several like that that likes to.
I found out it's a lot easier to get things done, to try to make it a competition. It's like, hey, let's see who can do the puzzle quicker, or
Mhm.
um, because even doing puzzles helps with their fine motor skills. So origami puzzles. If you don't have tweezers, you can use like these little clothespins, and
Oh,
they can
no.
pick up, they can pick up the beads with them, pick
Mhm.
up the beads and sort them out. So there's a lot of things you can look up on Pinterest. That's my go-to is Pinterest.
Yeah, and don't sit there and think, oh, this says it's for toddlers. I can't do this with my teenagers. You'd be surprised. I get these invitation to play boxes which have like it has Play-Doh and it'll have beads and she puts the beads inside the Play-Doh and I sit those out and I see my teenagers pick the different pieces up and play with it.
Yep.
So you can lay the stuff out. I mean, just make a nice place to lay it out. I personally have I'm terrified of having anything Play-Doh related or slime related close to my rug. I have one rug, and so move it somewhere else. And I just tell my kids, no boxes on the rug. It's on the table in the kitchen.
Yep.
But I mean,
Yep.
I watch them. They pick up and they play, and
Or
I
a
think,
tray. Or
yeah,
I have a like I have a couple of things. I have like a a big tray, like those breakfast
yeah,
trays
like
you
a
would carry in. She can
yeah,
use
or like
that.
a lunch tray from school.
Yes. Or even a cookie sheet, a large cookie sheet that you're gonna toss out as long as it's like you can you let them play with the Play-Doh and the clay on that.
Hmm.
Or foam, writing with foam.
Oh,
Like
that's
you can put the
fun.
like you put all the foam on a cookie sheet and then have them write their letters and stuff. That helps with their
Mhm.
gross motor skills along with their fine motor skills. Or if you have sand, you can put sand in the old cookie sheet, and then you can have them write their letters or write their name
Yeah.
or draw whatever that helps with their fine motor skills
For
also.
your older kids, I just thought about the sand. You know, they have those Japanese, I guess, Japanese inspired gardens, and you'll find the little sets where they have the stones and the rake and stuff. You know, if
Yep.
you spit that out, I'm like, I can see teenagers writing things in the sand and playing with the sand. I can see that happening.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
And I
definitely.
know
I mean,
mine love slime and foam and all that kind of stuff.
yep. Well, it helps. It might be a big mess, but it's fun. They're only a child once, and
Yes,
it helps them with their fine motor skills. So that's what I try to remember when there's a big mess. It's like
I
you
think
spill your water.
finding
It's okay.
skills are for everybody.
Exactly.
That's how
Exactly.
I feel. That's my takeaway. I'm like, oh, I'm going to set this up for my teenagers. That this is for everybody. They can all benefit because I can see with mine that they do not want to write for long periods of time, and they may not have major issues, but it's probably muscles because our kids are not writing like we did. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
my
Exactly. That is exactly what it is because of the technology of these days, and they even do it in school. The technology too. So that's why it's always best to start at
yeah.
the
A
youngest
lot
age.
like they get rid of cursive, and sometimes cursive is easier to write than printing.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And
We're going to start practicing her cursive. Just cursive her name. That's it. We're not doing everything. She just wants to learn her name, and I'm okay with that.
and that's a good thing because I tell my kids all the time they have to have some nice scribble scrabble for signing documents. That's what I tell them all the time. So you have to at least
Yep,
practice your name so you can have good scribble scrabble.
yep.
Um,
That's exactly what I said.
yeah. So and you for older kids you could do calligraphy. That's a different type of cursive and makes and it's almost like you're tricking them because it looks so beautiful. I mean, especially girls might enjoy that. But
Yes, yes,
origami, I've added
exactly.
or after our conversation, I've added origami into my year. I have a set for Lacey that says my first origami, and then I have a set for my 13-year-old. She hasn't seen it yet. She just came in here and looked at me. So I was thinking my 13-year-old could help my 6-year-old. She'll soon be 6 with the origami, and that can be one of their things this year. But it will
Yep.
help both of their fine motor skills. So.
Oh yeah, because there's some complicated origami ones that I can't even figure out. So I mean, they're
Mhm.
pretty cool. They even have a book for dollar bills that you can make different shapes with
Nice.
dollar bills. So it's pretty neat. So
Pretty
the
neat.
teenagers
A lot
would
of fun
love
with it.
that. So
Awesome. Okay, Mom, if y'all have any questions, y'all can ask. We got just a few more minutes because, we're all homeschool mamas here. I know I'm plan. Are y'all planning the year? Who's out there planning the year? I'm halfway in planning mode. I'm not completely. I've kind of finished. My funniest thing is we've added a co-op, and when I say we've added a co-op, I'm organizing it, and that has been my funny of the year because it's been like a fast thing. I was not planning to do it, and then There it is. So we're adding that in. But anyway, no questions. Okay. Angel is in the group if you want to tag her and ask her questions. I know she's fabulous and she'll give y'all ideas if y'all need it. Tag me if you need it. Susan will be back. I guess she'll be back tomorrow. She might jump in and talk to y'all, but she was gone this week for those who missed the beginning. But other than that, y'all have a wonderful weekend. We will be back next week and let us know what you need. Um, bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.